working on.
And for instance, right now, I'm feeling a little bit dizzy. I may leave a little bit early.
Yes, if you need to get going, you're not required to be here. We didn't even think you were going to be here, so it's fine if you need to go anytime. All right.
Yeah,
So, okay. Okay. So right now we just have myself and Lucy.
Yes.
So unfortunately, this was all set up for a different month and entirely, so it's unfortunate. But whatever, we're gonna try to work through this. So the first thing to check is, and this is where we start getting into the steps. So let's be writing this down. So just to remind us, we are on. Oh God. So if we go to the notes where it says step 0, this is actually responsibility 0. And there's going to be 13 responsibilities. Make sure I get it correct. Copy and paste. Okay, so if you go to our notes, these are the responsibilities. So we are going to focus on responsibility number
1.
5.
Number 0.
5.
Okay, 5.
Yeah, so
Review.
responsibility 5 is the most important responsibility. This is where all the automated calculations happen, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so take responsibility 5. So responsibility 5, we're gonna review and verify that calculations for each worker are correct. For the these are the automated calculations for each worker. So we're going to responsibility 5. So the first part of responsibility 5, obviously, step 0 is going to be set up. All right, so now we're going to step 1. So step 1 is to verify the dates. So the dates is going to be incorrect. So J tracking F5. So I go to F5 for me, and I just want to verify that the dates are correct. So this is November 13th and 14th. And we look at the top dates, and it says November 13th, 14th. Yeah. So I would say that that looks correct. And then it's automatically pulled across already. So it should be fine. So I go all and I also like to get the dates small. So I'm going to take all of this information, I'm going to make it smaller like that. Yeah, so now I can see it all. Okay.
Yeah.
It all looks good from my end. Right. So then the next thing is going to be the octant tracking and the overall tracking. So one thing in relationship to this is that and this is dragged down all the way. So F2, right? This is F5, F2, pay stops. Yeah, so you want to make sure that the pay stops is correct. F6, F7, F8, F9, F10, F11, F12. So that all looks correct to me. But we do want to mention that we need to verify that pay stops is correct as well. So verify dates and pay stops and overtime log is correctly duplicating. It's like duplicating the information from the other tab, right?
Yeah.
So then we have the totals per day. So the totals per day are, this would be step 2, totals per day. So totals per day is going to be different. All right, so this is a little problematic. So this will be different if we have octant time tracking. So I believe for the 173, we did not have octant time tracking
Yeah.
yet.
We did not track octant.
Yeah, so I think that it's just the one single thing. So just double check. Yeah, there's no octant time tracking. So that started later. So basically, let me make sure this is protected. Okay, cool. And then while we go through this, let's also do yours. So we have yours here, 13, 14. Okay, but see how the date is wrong on yours? So that's a problem that the date didn't come out correct here. So yours is supposed to be F5 is this one, and then you have F2, gonna be F2, and then this is F6. So yours didn't come out correctly because I
Oh, it pick information directly from the other side, okay?
it's just taking it directly from your tab and dragging it across. Okay, so I'm just getting yours correct now. All right, cool. So now yours is correct and mine are both correct. Okay,
Okay.
for the initial data. All right, so then we need to get the overall tracking. So for this one, we're gonna get rid of the octant tracking. So we're basically just going to delete that. It is not applicable. Right. So then what we want is the overall tracking. We need to have the correct date for the overall tracking and octant tracking. So for this one, for step 2, we just need to make sure overall / octant tracking is correctly duplicated. So we just go to the tracking hours tab, and we get the line for this is going to go all the way down to the bottom. Going to be line 174. Okay, so I come back over here and we do 174, correct, and then I'm just going to drag this all the way across, and then that is done. All right, so that's total hours. So then I come down to you, do the same thing, do 174, and we're going to delete that one, and then we're going to drag it all the way across to make sure it's correct, and boom, done. All right, so then we have max daily hours.
Mm-hmm.
So the max daily hours is not applicable. So this also can be deleted. And then we have average weekly hours, loads per day, average
Do we have
weekly.
average weekly hours as well?
Yes, I believe we do have average weekly hours because I need to double check though. Again, I didn't do it for this moon month and it's a little different. So I did it for 1 degree. So everything's done for 1 degree. So it's just kind of a pain in the butt to have to redo it. It'll be easier for future moon months because it will all be done already. So, okay, here we go. Max daily is D13, D14, because D max daily is not. So average weekly hours is a matter of taking the time in your weekly estimated hours. Okay, so that's column L. So yeah, so weekly hours still matters. So if you go to mine, so let's take a look here. Let's do it a little bit. All right, so if you go to mine, you can see here, this is column L. I had no weekly hours here. If we go to the next week, I have 0, and go to the week after that, 0. Okay, so I don't have any weekly hours, okay? And neither do you. I don't think you have any as well.
I think maybe monthly only.
Yeah, 0. Why would you have monthly?
I don't know. What about the total of the hours? How is it done?
I'm just talking about weekly. Okay, here we go. Right here, I have 14.08 estimated weekly hours. Okay, so that, and then here I have 10 estimated weekly hours. Here I have 8 estimated weekly hours, and here I have 3 estimated weekly hours, okay?
Yeah.
So the octant tracking is irrelevant because it's 173. Overall tracking is important. The max daily hours also irrelevant, but then the average weekly hours is actually important. And just to make sure you understand what this means, if I go to my weekly hours tracking spreadsheet, and I go to the bottom, you can see here I tracked 14.08 hours in my weekly estimates.
Yeah, weekly estimate. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so and then over here I have 10 hours in my weekly estimates. Over here I have 8 hours in my weekly estimate. Over here I have 3 hours, right? So when I do a weekly estimate, that is different than like all of your overtime is calculated based on daily amounts, which is why you're not allowed to track weekly estimates for overtime. You can only do daily estimates for overtime, which is very important in the calculations, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I estimating 2 hours of weekly time per week. So then you have the final totals per day, right? So the final total per day is going to be the overall tracking plus, so this is going to be D14 plus D16, right? So this will be the total hours tracked per day. Because I just take the weekly estimate and I multiply it by, I divide it, right, by the 7 days a week. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for you. So we go in here, but you have 0 hours, right? Like on all of yours, so you don't really have to worry about that, but let's just make sure the calculation is correct. So it's going to be D53 plus D55. D53 plus D55. So let's make sure it's correct so that it adds the total correctly. So I think it was correct already, but it's just good to double check it. Perfecto. And then this goes here. Nice. All right. Okay, so, and that is the only other thing here. Make sure the overall octant tracker is correctly duplicated, and then that the totals added are correct with the weekly averages. All right. So that's the totals per day. So now we have the total hours per day. Then we can start calculating the overtime. So the first overtime, let's go up to me. Total overtime hours is going to be D4 plus D5. So it's going to be tier overtime plus 2 and 1 overtime. So this is your total overtime hours. So that is correct. And then percentage overtime hours is going to be the 19 divided by D17. So that is also correct, right? So I can see here I'm highlighting where I have overtime hours just so we can keep track of it when we're reviewing. Whoops. Get out of here. All right, there we go. So this is going to be not. So over here, I don't have any overtime hours. Here I have overtime hours. And you see what this does is it basically just calculates the percentage of the overtime hours of the total hours calculated, right? So because for me, I work primarily during the day, my percentages are actually very, very low. Whereas for you, I don't know why your calculations look so different from me. Total overtime hours, percentage overtime hours. Total overtime hours, percentage overtime hours. Oh, because I fixed yours. Yours is better. All right. So here's the percentages. So this one is 0, and then you have a bunch. So you can see how most of your time, it's like 80%. You know, it's very, very high, right? All of yours are much higher than mine because you're working a lot more at night. So we're going to be highlighting all of these. This one's 0. And so we're mainly just highlighting this to make sure that it all adds up correctly.
Okay.
All right, cool. So then we have the maxed out daily overtime. So this is your 6 hours per day. So the maximum overtime you could do per day is 6 hours. So you can see here where it maxes out. So here you had 10 hours. So you maxed out, right? Let's see if there's anywhere. You maxed out here because you worked 12 hours that day. Right? See how it's over 100%, which is, I don't know how it's possible to have over 100%. So we might, I would almost say, okay, this calculation might be wrong somehow. It shouldn't be able to be over 100%. Okay. I think that's the only ones that, oh, here you go. You maxed out here too. So here you have 8 hours, right? So anything over 6 hours in a day is considered, basically against policy. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly fine to break policy. I mean, hopefully you're doing very, very important work. But if you're not doing anything important and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to work 12 hours, it's like, whoa, that's way too much overtime. Okay, so extra weekly overtime hours. N60 divided by 7.
Does that mean if I now go overtime, I will not able to get anything, or what happened now?
Oh no, we're going to be adding it all up, right? So right now the calculations show you should be getting somewhere around $100 of overtime based on the initial calculations, but we're just verifying the calculations are correct. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now this is the extra weekly overtime hours. So this, oh, I see what this is. So if you have a certain number of hours that you're budgeted per week, okay?
Yeah.
So if you go to your budget, your upfront budget, I believe, says 25 hours per week. Is that correct?
Yes.
So under your calculations, your maximum overtime is only 2x your actual budgeted hours, which means you can't go over 25 hours of overtime. All right, that makes sense?
Yes.
So you have 26.25 hours. So you're going to be taking 1 hour 0.25, which is a very small amount, like it's not a big deal, and we're subtracting that 0.18 per day. Okay?
Okay.
So here's your total max daily overtime hours, which means this is the maximum number of hours that you can accumulate of overtime per day. So if you look here where you maxed out at 6, the total is going to be 5.82 hours of overtime, which is a 58.2% of your total 10 hours, right? So you're
Yes.
getting less overtime this day because you maxed out. But all the other days you're getting almost 100%. It's like 94%, almost 100% of your overtime value. That makes sense? So the only one that's low is this one right here because you work so many overtime hours beyond your allowed increments. So think about it like this. Under our policies, like you're only allowed normal overtime for the work. But then once you work more than 6 hours in a day, you're getting overtime on top of your overtime. Right? So your equity value, if we were working on equity calculations, you would actually be doubling your overtime on top of your overtime on top of your overtime multiple times over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so eventually our policy will be that you will get upfront pay for all of your double overtime, but right now we don't have the money for that. So you only get single overtime, which is why you limit it to 58.2%. Okay, and then if we check out your other ones over here,
So where is this overtime will go? Will I able to get it in future as a benefit, or where is it going?
yeah, it goes into your equity calculations. Right. So if we pull up here, I can show you real quick. We don't want to get too, but I have finished the equity bonus calculations. So we look at this would be the worker daily equity calculations. If we look at you here, Lucy, your overall equity calculations are totaled, and then wait, this all says 0, 0, 0. This is not correct. Let's think maybe it's in 165. Let's see. Did I do it here? Bonus, upfront, bonus. Daily worker equity Calcs. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was in 173.
Maybe one.
Other
And
equity
that's
codes.
it?
Yes, this is it right here. So daily worker equity Calcs. Yeah. So we can look right in here under Lucy. Yeah. So this is it right here. So these are all your daily overtime totals. And you can see here everything that's orange is where you basically broke policy. So you only broke policy a few times, right? But you do have some policy breaking where you're going into 3x and 2x overtime, where you're working more hours than is healthy, and it's just it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just like it's not healthy for people to do that, and it's also very difficult. You can see you only did it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the whole month that you went into double overtime. Okay. And then here it calculates all the totals of overtime. So your grand total overall for all the equity is like $1,690. Okay. So just calculates all of the value. But again, this is your equity value, which is all of the value. So you can see the totals for the overtime here. Like these are the overtime totals that are added to your overall equity, which is all your daily, weekly, and monthly value, right? So I would have to break it down between, so this is all your overtime value, and then this is your normal equity value. So your normal equity value came out to $691, and then all of your overtime equity value was basically double that, $584. Plus you have AY 85, AY 85 plus AW 55. Oh, plus you have AW 50. Your overall, this is like your general overtime totals. So you have $414 of your direct overtime totals, which would be your nighttime overtime. So this is your nighttime overtime is $400, and then your overall overtime beyond nighttime, which is what we're talking about now, where you're basically working more than 6 hours in a day, working more than 30, 40 hours in a week. That's going to be $500, and then you have your normal value is $691. So the total is $1,690. Okay.
Okay.
So under our model, if we were not on Paystop, you should be getting, and we didn't have, we only had like $600 of bonuses, but if we had unlimited amounts of money, you should be getting $400 per month for your nighttime work. Like that's the value of your nighttime work is $400. This also includes, time for meal breaks and holiday time, which wouldn't be included. So technically your overtime value was $397.69 for your nighttime work. Okay.
Okay.
So you're only, because of the pay stops, you're only going to be seeing about $100 of that, like $92 of that. But we're just verifying to making sure it's all correct. So we went through the first week, the second week looks good. So the second week is a little bit higher on the number because you work 3 hours over your 25 hours. So it goes a little bit lower, but everything looks pretty good. And then here we have this one needs to be highlighted. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Good. Okay. And this one you were 2.5 hours over. And then here you're 9 hours over. So you can see here it actually goes down a lot more, where you're only getting like 67, 60%, 70% of your total overtime because you worked 9 hours over your max overtime. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So then we want to double check the final calculation. So let's just make sure we're updating the policy training. Whoops. All right. So this is step 3 is, so this will do totals per day. So we did totals per day. Then the next part is the overtime calculations and percentages. Overtime calcs and percentages. And then step 4, so this is to verify overtime, and then we want to verify final overtime calculation. So in the final overtime calculations, we multiply your budget cost times your percentage overtime hours times the total number of hours time. And so to basically, and we want to make sure that the percentage is a negative of the percentage, so you're getting the positive side of that. Okay, so anyways, we can double check the calculations as needed, but this all looks correct to me. And it comes out to $92, which also seems correct. So this all looks good. So the question is, let's just verify to make sure your overtime hours are right. And these are doubled up because your 2x overtime hours are going to be multiplied by a whole of your budget, and then your 1.5x overtime hours as your budget divided by 2, because you're already paid your base payroll, so we just give you the extra 0.5 value, so it's divided by 2. So that's why you have to do double calculations for the 2 different overtimes. All right, so the question is we need to verify your budget. So are you in each 4, right? You need to verify the upfront budget each 4. And for me, I am verified in the upfront budget for H3.
Okay.
So if you can just verify that, otherwise I think
Yes.
everything looks. And I can just double check here. So we have E59. So E59 is your percentage of overtime hours. E59. See, that doesn't seem right. Let me double check here in the 1 degree. So I'm going to go over here. Okay. All right, perfect. So we do, oh, it's this. Right, here we go. E56. Okay, so E56 is the percentage, oh yeah, of your overtime value times E40. So E40 is your actual number of overtime hours times E60, which is the percentage of the overtime hours that counts, times 1 minus E39. So E39, oh, is the pay stop. So that's why it's the negative of the pay stop. Yes. So it looks correct. So just to review it again, you multiply your pay rate times the percentage of the overtime hours that is applicable for your thing, which is E58, which is total number divided by E56, which is your total per day times the total number of hours that you had, right? Because your daily hours is the so the more you have your day, the higher it's going to be. Okay. So then you multiply that out, and this is basically so that, you know, if you track 5 hours of overtime hours and 5 hours of non-overtime hours, like daytime hours, it just averages out, because we're not trying to know when or where or what hours are overtime versus not overtime. It's basically all the same hours, right? So, because at some point it cuts off, because you can only do a maximum of 25 hours per week of overtime. So if you're doing more than that, it's somewhere it has to cut off, right? And the same thing per day. So that's why we just average all the hours together. And you will see, I don't understand why this is 100. I don't understand that right now, but I'm just not going to care about it, because only 104%. It's basically equal. It gives you a little extra money here, but I'm just not worried about it. I don't know why it comes out that way. But overall, if your total hours per day match the total overtime hours tracked, then you get 100%. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So next thing we want to do is just go through this. So you do the percentage of the actual number of overtime hours you have times your budget. Then you do E43, which is your total overtime hours, times E63, which is the percentage of those hours that are actually counted, times the pay stop. And so the pay stop is what really just destroys our value, which is line 4. And it's the negative of the pay stop because we want the positive percentage of that. So you can see if we didn't have a pay stop here, like let's say this was 0, instead of getting like $1, you get $5. Right? So it goes from $1.88, and then the pay stop takes it from $1.88. If we got rid of the pay stop, it goes up to $5. So you can see how the pay stop is brutal. Okay, so the pay stop is the number one reason why it's so low.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
otherwise, everything's correct here, and that is 92.10. So then just to finish up here, let's just double check mine real quick. So obviously I'm spending more time than I would normally. Mine is not updated with the correct calculations, but it doesn't really matter because I have so few overtime hours. All of these extra calculations here are simply for one thing, going over the 25 hours. But obviously I have not gone over the 25 hours, so let's just not even worry about it for now. And my total overtime is $11.88. No, that can't be right. Let me see here. So if we take your total, let's just make sure the total adds up correctly. So this is going to be D67 to AU67. So D67 to AU67. Okay, so here you can see there's a mistake here. Boom, 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 boom. So it's 104. See the mistake that I found?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure, but this was not dragged over. So there was 3 days missing in the totals, but I just got that, which we don't want to miss those 3 days. So then I come up here to myself and make sure mine is 1188. I guess 1188 is correct. Yeah, not a lot. Okay. So that is what's up. Here, go to bed. There. Almost done. Okay. So then the last things we have to do are the national holiday value and the paid sick days. So I did that over here. So let's just get these calculated out. No, where did I do it? 1 degree. How about 165 degree? No. No, I didn't.
You are looking for?
I just calculated the national holiday value and the paid sick leave. Maybe I did it for you. No. What did I do it? So, oh, maybe it was one. No, it wasn't 165. It's not even here. Worker daily equity, bonus upfront Calcs, bonus token Calcs, bonus upfront Calcs. There's just nothing here. I haven't started it. What did I do? We're doing 1 degree now or not?
We are doing. Oh, we are on 1 degree.
We're doing
173.
Yes. So we're doing 173. So you have the $104. So anyways, I guess I'm just going to do this from scratch. It's kind of annoying that I literally just did it. And now
maybe 130 or maybe 38.
No, I mean, there's only these 3. Could it be over here? No. Why would it have disappeared? It's possible that I undid it accidentally and just didn't realize it. Could I have put it over here somewhere? This is why it's good to do things in order. I've done it here. Maybe this is where I messed up. No, these are the correct. Bonus upfront Calcs, bonus token Calcs, bonus equity Calcs, nothing. So weird. Oh, maybe it's under the copy here. That's what I did. I accidentally put it in this copy. I don't know why this copy even exists. Very, very strange. Right. So paste. No. What did I do? So I did it. That's correct. D, column D. Oh, they're correct. Okay, cool, correct. All right.
Oh,
so,
you did it on the copy of what? Okay.
yeah, that's what I did wrong. Okay, so I come in here, I go nationals, do boom, boom, boom. Okay. So this takes the total tracking of overall national holiday hours, multiplies it times the budget, but it does not account for pay stops. So I do believe that the national holiday value is also related to pay stops, and so is the paid sick leave. Yes. So I think there is going to need to be one last calculation here that we're going to need to do, which is daily national holiday value. And then we have daily national holiday hours, and then daily national holiday values. So daily national holiday values, I just come in here, I get my hours tracking, I go to F9, daily national holiday hours, boom. And I drag all the way across. Oh God, all the way across.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to multiply the number of hours, which is going to be here, times my budget times the pay stop, which is going to be right there. Okay. And then I pull this across,
Mm-hmm.
and then it should give me the correct total. So the total without pay stops was
25.
25. So let's see what the total is with pay stops. And so it still says 25 for some reason. Why do I still get 25? Let's see what happened here.
Still get 25.
So we did this matter. So we had 3 hours times the upfront budget times AH3. AH123 is 50%. So let's see if we get, wait, no, up here, 50%. So we got rid of the 50%, then I get $0. Okay, so I didn't do the negative. So this is going to be a 1 minus the percentage. That should fix it. See if it works.
Yeah. Still have
Right,
25. Oh no.
Oh no, it still says 25.
I see say 25.
Let's say 25. So it's really all just this one day when I work. So it's $25. So my pay rate is $17 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what happens here. I think I got it.
Okay.
So when you're doing the total calculation of all of the hours for the month,
Mm-hmm.
it's already taking into account the pay stop, because you come in here, to the hours tracking, the pay stop totals, right, already takes in the accounting of the pay stop, right? So the weekly totals already take account for the pay stop. So when it takes the total 1.5 hours, this is already 50% of the value of the 3 hours. So that means it's already pre-calculated properly, okay, for the pay stop.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
means that we actually don't have to do the calculation. It's much simpler, which is great. So then I just go back to the original one. Let's just copy and paste from here, copy and paste. And this can be, why it's not working. Why didn't it work? So BD10 is probably not right. So what did I mess up? What did I mess up? So it's going to be J tracking. Holiday hours is BD9. I was off by 1. Okay, so it's coming here. And again, after we get this set up, it's done. We don't have to do it ever again. It'll be automatic. Okay, so the $25 is actually because it
It's
already
correct, right?
calculates it. So then we're going to do this for you. So for you, instead of doing mine, it's just going to change it to Lucy. So paste. So this is going to be Lucy tracking. And then we're just going to need your budget. And we verified your budget is 4, right? H4.
Yeah.
So we get $7.88. And then the paid sick leave is also, I have 0 paid sick leave for this particular month, but you are also 0, right? And that's going to be, no, because I did mine. So this is going to be Lucy tracking, Lucy, and then your budget was H4. But it still says 0. So let's confirm that. So this is exactly like when something's 0, it's like, okay, why is it 0? Let's confirm. So I come over here and I verify Lucy. Here's Lucy tracking, and we have national holiday overtime 000. You have 450 right here on a 50% pay stop. No, we did the national tracking. So this was the sick vacation days with extra timeline 10. So 00000. You tracked no sick
No,
days.
I did not take any sick leave.
So that makes sense that it would be 0 then. Okay, so base upfront Calcs, bonus, overtime bonus Calcs. Perfect. All right, so then the last calculation would be, we can always add in, what we could do like a subtotal. So the subtotal would be equal to the national holiday plus the paid sick leave plus the nighttime. Right, so this is actually the nighttime total night overtime. Or this would be like subtotal night overtime. So this would be the total of all those, and then we could do a multiplier times the, reduction in bonus from percentage of policy training, right? / tracking log. Right now, we're just doing nothing for that because we're just not worrying about it. So then you have here your grand total overtime bonus. Okay. Be this times the negative of that. So I don't know if we're ever going to like reduce people's overtime bonuses and nighttime bonuses based on the bonus from the policy training, but under our policies we can. I don't think I would ever do it 100%, but it may be, a small amount, 5-10%, just to make sure people know that it does matter to follow policies. But either way, $112.16 is looking pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go with that. And then go with that. And then this is only the total overtime bonuses, but you still get bonuses for the half year bonuses, plus there be bonuses for deliverables and other bonuses related to completing work and taking on executive roles and all that kind of stuff. So for now, this is all we're going to do for now, but in the future, there's additional bonuses that we want to give out, but I'm just not going to worry about it for now. Okay, so my total would be, let's see, this is a subtotal, and then this would be that. Grand total. So my total is $37.68.
No, I see.
So then the next part of this would be doing the next person. So I would just take all of your stuff and I would copy that and I would paste it here. And then I would do the next person. So the next person might be like a Tay, right?
Yeah.
So we'll check and see if it is a Tay. Yeah, Tay tracking. Yeah, so it's a Tay. So now we did it for me and you. It should be really easy and fast for a Tay because we don't, really have to double check and verify everything. But we start with the date. So it changes to A tracking. tracking. We know that the dates are right here, so it is F5. Come in here, I change this to F5. Remember, you're only going to need to do this once. Then we have, this is F2 for Tay tracking. We can double check that right here. F2, and then we have F6. So then this one would be F6 for a Tay tracking. And then I'm going to drag this down, and then I drag all of this across, and then we're done with step. I believe that was step 1, right?
Yes, step 1.
Okay, so step
Up to
1 done. So then we do, let's just double check on the steps here. So step 1, verify the dates, pay stubs, so we're done. Now we do the totals per day. So here's the overall tracking. So we know the totals are F174. So I come in here, I say 174, and then I drag that across. And get the totals per day. Done. All right, so then we can skip this one. So then we have average weekly hours. So average weekly hours are based on tracking over week averaged estimated weekly time, but there's none for this is a Tay. So we have to change this all to Tay. I'm just updating it all. Tay, 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 Tay. So again, this is all things that you only have to do once, and then it will be done for in all future ones. But for now, we just have to do it once. Okay, cool. So I got it all in Tay instead of Lucy. All right, so we finished with the totals per day. So this is all correct totals per day. Now we're doing the overtime. So the overtime totals should be fine. The percentage overtime totals should be pretty good. And we're just going to highlight the days that are important. I doubt that she ever did anything that related to, so it looks like this week she didn't have any overtime at all, or night overtime. So here we have a couple ones here and there.
So remove the yellow one side.
Look, this one's 138%.
Okay.
So again, I don't understand why the percentage overtime hours. I don't understand how you would track more overtime hours than you even tracked for that day. Right? Do you see how that's a problem? So let's check. So this is why you came up with 104. So on January 1st, right? If you go to a Tay, and we go to January 1st, let's find it. January 1st, right here. She tracked, oh my God, this is really weird. Let's fix this. View freeze up to the fact. She tracked 3 hours of overtime.
13.
No, it's this one. She tracked 9 hours of overtime on January 1st, 2nd. So there's 6 hours of 1.5x plus 3 hours of 2x. So first of all, you shouldn't be able to have 6 hours because this is only overtime from 9 p.m. to 12. So it's 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's only 3 hours maximum of overtime unless you worked exactly from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. plus 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. is the only way to have full 6 hours of 1.5x overtime because it's only 3 hours at a time, right?
Yeah.
So this has to be a mistake, right? So I would say that this.
It's not highlighted. You try to highlight. Okay.
I made it right. Okay. So and then this one should be better. Okay. So let's go back and see. So that's why yours was over 100% as well, is that you actually track more overtime than you even had hours. So that's why it was so bad. But this is obviously like really bad. So we want to get that one fixed. And then over here we have another one. So this one says that it's 173.
And 75,
But this is
73.
for January 5th and 6th. So let's go check that. So January, this is a tape. January 5th and 6th right here. So it's so this is a little bit more doable though. There's 3 hours of overtime and 3.5 hours of double overtime, right? So that would be 6.5 hours. So then if you look at her tracking hours, you have here 6, 7, 8 hours. You know, so the hours are there. The question is, why is it coming out so odd? So it says overall she tracks 16 hours that day.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
16.
hours. So I mean, I would double check, like, did she really work 16 hours? You know, it's probably fine if she thinks that she did, but it still doesn't change the fact, why is the overtime coming up so weird in terms of the percentages? So let's try to figure out why it's coming up so weird. So the percentage is 106, which is the total overtime hours that she calculated, which as we know is correct, divided by 104, which is the total hours calculated for that day. So something must be wrong. So we know that was 12 hours. So the hours must be incorrect. Like the hours are not lining up. Right? So this is supposed to be F174. Oh no, see how it says Lucy tracking? We haven't done a take.
Oh, yeah.
So that's so this is why we're verifying everything. So this needs to be a Tay. So we go 1, 2, 3, a Tay tracking 174, and then I pull this across and get this all done. Boom, 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 and boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's better. Awesome. All right, so now we found the problem.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right, so this
Now,
is why we check everything. Okay, so there's still a problem here at 145%. So we'll double check
and
that.
that one still remain 167.
266.
Then the other
So
one
that,
reduce AP.
this one's fine now. So that we fixed. 100% is perfectly fine. 188% is weird. And these ones are also fine. They're just 0. Okay. But
Yeah.
that means she didn't track any hours. Those days kind of weird. Anyways, we're just going to delete that and pretend like they don't exist. Okay. So then we want to double check. So here she actually did track 9 general hours, right? And here 0, 7 hours for the week. And here's 0. Okay, so you can see how these hours, these 9 hours are going to be deducted or added to her total, right? So that makes sense. So then here we have 66, 100%, 100%, 100%. So the question is, why are these all blank? I would assume that it's just because it was removed somehow. Oh, if error gets rid of it. Okay, so these are all zeros. They're blank, 0, 0, blank, blank, blank. Perfect, 100%, 60%. Cool, so it's all like, so all we need to verify now is just why these numbers are so high. Let's start with the highest one, which is 266. So this is going to be January 2nd and 3rd. So I come into a Tay tracking. January, was it 2nd and 3rd? January 2nd, 3rd. So we have 3 hours of overtime, and then we look at their hours tracked, and we have 15 minutes. Yeah, so that's why it's wrong. She only tracked 15 minutes of time, but she tracked 3 hours of overtime.
Overtime.
Which is why it comes out to such a ridiculous number. Okay, so
yeah,
I would make this orange. I'm not super worried about it. I'm assuming she probably worked those overtime hours, but it's still strange that she would track overtime hours without tracking normal hours, which means she's losing her base pay as well, right? She wouldn't be getting paid her base pay.
Yeah.
So it's good to make sure that and that could potentially even be policy tracking for not tracking hours properly, okay? So yeah, so all these days are basically days where she tracked overtime hours, but did not track her normal hours for some reason. So that's a problem that we're going to want to look into. Okay.
Okay.
So then the final thing here, obviously we need to check her budget. So can you see what line she is in the budget?
Okay, let me check on the batch.
This is going to be okay. So she has no holiday, but she does have a few paid
On
sick leave
upfront
days.
budget, right?
Yes, upfront budget. What line is she?
Line 5.
5. Okay. So she's going to be line 5 and line 5 and line 5. Upfront budget 5 and line 5. Cool. And then I'm going to take these, I'm going to drag them across. Line 5 and that here, boom, line 5. Drag this across here. Perfect. And that's perfect. Cool. So it's $103.44. So she had 0 national holidays. So you can see how that went a lot faster. The main thing that took time was just understanding why she's tracking so much overtime hours without tracking normal hours. So she did that in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So typically what you would see is 100% that your overtime hours would be exact to your normal time hours based on the fact that if you work the exact number of overtime hours to your normal hours, you get exact base pay and up and bonus pay. That would be normal is 100%, right? But if you're saying that you're
So
tracking,
normal mean the hours that you track on top should match the hours that you spread on the responsibility that you're working on.
if you are working only nighttime, right? If you have no daytime hours, then your hours, you should have more hours during the day than you did for overtime. That make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you only work nighttime hours, then your overtime hours should match exactly your base hours, right? And under our new model, it doesn't matter whether you track your time in the octant tracking or the overall tracking, you still get value for it. So I can show you that here. Basically, let's say you go to the tracking hours spreadsheet, any of them will do. Here we go. So you have in new world right here, so you can see here, I track all of my octant hours, right? And then I go back all the way down to the bottom, and then I also track all of my work hours, right? This line of like the overall work tracking hours of all my work assignments versus just the general hours tracked in the octants, they don't match perfectly, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to take whatever is the most amount of time and value, and we make sure that is the one that we do. So in the calculations that we do, we always calculate based on where'd it go? I'm on Windows 75. Yeah. So we do the calculations based on the max daily hours. So we're going to do whatever is the biggest number of hours, whether it's in your overall tracking or your octant tracking. Okay. So for me, I'd track in both. So but this one, the 173, we didn't have that, but in the future, it won't matter where you track your hours. But what does matter is that you track your hours either in the octant or in your assigned work priorities, and then also you track it in your overtime. Okay, so you do both.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Anyway, so we are done with the Tay, and then you would just copy and paste it and then do the next person for their overtime hours. So let's take the total. So far we know we have $400 total. So we have 37 for me, 112 for you, and then 108 for Tay. So we'll see how much is for Joyce. We'll see how much is for Sandra and everything like that. And then that will eventually get added up in the totals, right? So I think I have it here. So there's going to be the overtime bonus calcs. There's going to be the other bonus calcs. Then there'll be the bonus upfront totals. All right, so that will be where we bonus upfront calc. So this would be the bonus upfront totals. All right, so then this is where we would put everybody's name, and then we would just like put their total there, and then we'll add it all up, and then that's where we'll create the proposal. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So anyways, I think we're done, but it was good to, and this has a video. Let's make sure we get the link to the video. Do you know how to get the link to the videos?
No, I don't know your YouTube, but I can get the link if I know the YouTube. There is a way you just share.
I've told you many, many times, so you just need to remember the link and just save it on your main doc or whatever, so that I don't need to keep telling you over and over and over again, you know?
Yes.
It's very important that we keep track of all of these recordings so that you can send the recording to for training, right? So this is basically our bonus upfront payroll training. So I share, wait, actually I want to get you this. This is the link to all the YouTube videos. And so I'll put this in our notes here. Okay.
Yeah, I think I need to link these notes or others. Yeah, I linked it before. I already linked.
Yeah, the notes go into the payroll admin tab, right? Because we always, whenever we work with payroll, we always document it. But I want you to make sure you save this recording, because this recording needs to go into the bonus payroll recordings for the overtime calculations. Okay?
Okay.
So that people understand it. So let me know if you can do that. If you can't do it, then you need to ask more questions so we can verify. And then this all still needs to be updated.
Where should I update this video? Under info for info. Bonus upfront responsibility.
Well, the first thing you do is you go to our notes, you go to the setup, right? And then you copy and paste the link in line 6.
Okay. I'm just opening the video. Then go to our today note. Then I and share. Copy the link. So on our today note, I paste it online. You see, I paste it on line 6J column. Yeah, I can paste it on line 7. Line 6 has something.
No, there's nothing on line 6. This is in our notes. Setup tab of our notes.
Oh yeah, on setup, sure.
All right, so I think we are done. Any other last details for me? Otherwise, I'm gonna kick off.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
And we should do lots of policy training for not doing our breaks and things like that.
Yes. I think instead of for me canceling the other tab, I just cancel the note. Let me get the note from. I think I sent it.
You still haven't linked anything in the notes yet, so.
Yes, I think I just canceled the note by mistake. I copy already the link. I have it on clip. Let me see. Yes, I'm here online. Online 6. This is main session, G.
Are you on our notes? I still don't see it.
Yeah, now I'm getting there.
Okay.
So I'm linking on link note here. Okay. I put the link.
Great. And then you should also add this link to the responsibility training for the process, right? For the upfront bonus payroll.
Oh,
process.
base
Okay.
upfront. Yes.
No, for
I,
bonus upfront.
bonus upfront. On info, right? Under info.
No, it's going to go under the process, right? This is technically go under responsibility 5, review overtime calculations. That's what we were working on, responsibility 5. But
Responsibility
we don't have a
5.
tab for responsibility 5 yet. We haven't created all the tabs. So we need to just put it under the process for now, where we have responsibility 5. Okay.
I just put under responsibility 5
Yeah, right
on
there.
line 34.
Perfect. Yes, that's how we update our videos. So hopefully in the future we'll just keep updating our videos and get better and better and better at it, so that we can easily train future recruits. Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll start getting lots of work done. It'd be really nice. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate. Okay,
Right.
bye.